I would like to tell you today about a project that we're doing in multiple sclerosis, where we are looking at the development of software that will allow us to monitor people with MS and their cognition or their memory function a bit more accurately and in real time in the clinic and also at home. So firstly, cognition in MS has been recognized to be a major problem for quite some time now, with some studies saying up to 60-70% of people with MS being affected with cognitive impairment at some point during the disease course. We know that cognitive impairment has a dramatic impact not only on people's physical outcome, but also on their social outcome. And this includes their ability to remain employed. Now, one of the things that we're lacking in our clinical practice is how to monitor this accurately. At the moment, the gold standard testing of cognitive impairment or memory function in someone with MS is to refer them to a neuropsychologist. A neuropsychologist would generally require 3 to 4 hours to perform a very large battery of tests on a person, and this can be very tiring. It can fluctuate a lot depending on if it's in the morning or the evening, as we often see with MS. The other thing that makes this quite a limiting test to use is that it's not very repeatable. So there are huge learning effects with these tests, which means that if you repeat them too often, the person who performed the test can remember to some extent what's to be done, and that would improve their scores artificially. So what we've been looking at is a way that we can monitor memory function in the MS clinic without exposing the test to a lot of learning effects. So something that we can do as often as we like, and ideally something that's simple, that the person can administer themselves, because this would allow us the ability to do this without having a highly skilled, trained person performing these tests and scoring these tests. So what we've been working at is a computerized test, which is available on iPads, on different type of computer platforms, and also on phones that a patient can administer themselves. And this is based on a computer program which we've named MS Reactor, that has been developed by Professor David Darby, who we work closely with. So if I can explain that a little bit better, every person engaged in this is given a login, and what is then displayed is a simple test which involves a soccer ball appearing on the screen, and we're measuring reaction speed. So as soon as the ball appears, you have to click yes, and that gives us a very accurate measure of how fast someone can react. Secondly, we look at sort of a choice reaction, where you have to pick a ball and press yes if it's red and no if it's not red. So this gives you a little bit of a working memory function, and it requires a bit more concentration. And then lastly, we do a test that we call a one-back test, where you have to compare a playing card that's shown to the one that's been shown previous to that and say if it's the same or not. So these are very simple. You don't need special language skills to do this, and can be done, as I said, on many platforms. The other advantage of the system is that we can display the results very quickly in a graphical format that the person with MS can look at themselves, but also that their clinician can look at every time they come into clinic. And because there's no learning effects, you can only improve your reaction speed to a certain ceiling. You can do these as many times as you like. So what we've done so far in terms of validating this is we have compared this in a group of people with MS to the PASAR test. So the PASAR test is called the Paced Auditory Serial Addition Test, which some people listening to this might be familiar with. It's generally a very painful test where you have to remember numbers in your head and add a number every 3 to 5 seconds to a previous number that you have to be able to recall. Now, when we've compared our computerized version of this test, at that point it was the formal cog state test, not our new version. We showed that the computerized cognitive testing battery is just more sensitive than the Passat at detecting cognitive change. And over time, it's much more likely to show some significant changes, which makes it a very valid monitoring tool. So where do we see this going? Well, I guess we are in the first stage of implementing this, and at the moment we are implementing it in the MS clinics at the Royal Melbourne Hospital and also at Box Hill Hospitals, where we are enrolling people with relapsing, remitting and secondary progressive MS and asking them to perform these tests, firstly in the clinic and then also at home on a 3-monthly basis. We plan to expand this program across as many MS centres as we can, initially in Australia, and then also leverage this through the MS-based network internationally. We hope that over the next 5 years, we will be able to implement this as a routine cognitive monitoring tools in many MS clinics, and this of course will have several advantages. The first is of course that a patient or a person with MS will be able to look after and monitor aspects of their cognition themselves and at home, and that clinicians will be able to look at this and have another way to assess if someone's disease is stable or not. The second benefit of this is, of course, that it will give us a large amount of research data, which will allow us to more accurately predict outcomes, possibly comparing this information with very advanced MRI measurement tools that we are implementing as well, and then also looking at how people that do develop cognitive slowing or changes in their reaction time, if their disease actually progress. The third advantage is that what is very important, and that we will for the first time be able to actually compare different treatments to see what the effect will be, the potential effect will be on improving or alleviating the cognitive deterioration that many people with MS experience. So we are very excited about this program, and we hope that it will make a huge difference in clinical practice in the foreseeable future.